Welcome to another. This is one before the All-Star break. You know, it was an abbreviated break, but a break nonetheless. As always, we got Raymond, Lyons, Cardell, Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarpeh Jr., and this is Wizards Outlook tonight. The Wizards held on for a W against the Clippers, 119-117. I found out Paul George wasn't playing like literally minutes before the game tipped off. Reggie Jackson was inserted into the lineup. That said, Washington, played defense some crucial stretches in this game, proof that they can actually do that. It paid dividends. It was an interesting, them in closing games is always interesting, always an adventure, but I'm going to let you guys get to that. So, Cardell, you can start, and then Ray, your thoughts on tonight's game?
I honestly think it was one of their more complete games as far as everybody producing and pitching in to try to make an impact from the starters to the bench. They obviously need it even without Paul George because, the Clippers are a load, and it looked like the Clippers were kind of about to run away with it in the first until, the Wizards woke up. Well, honestly, until Kawhi got in foul trouble and then that kind of changed everything. But other than that, it looked like it was kind of going to be the repeat of what we saw in LA. But they buckled down, they got stops. And you could tell they was playing with a sense of urgency to get a W, especially after the last game against Memphis, where they just totally got dominated in every way. You could tell they just wanted to make amends, so to speak. And I just feel like it was one of their best complete games as a roster. The wild thing is in the fourth quarter, you really saw how good defensively they can be when they really put their mind to it and really lock in. In the final 4 minutes with 106. With the 106-102 lead, the Clippers, they had 6. No, they had 5 misses and a turnover, and that became an 11-0 Wizards run, and that turned the whole game around. We keep saying it for this team, they have to defend to win games. They've beaten both LAs, they've beaten Denver, they've beaten some heavyweight teams that we're looking at them as contenders, and it seems like the only time they will lose games is when they don't pay attention to the defensive side of the floor. Even look at the turnover situation. One thing we've been talking about all season is the turnovers with the Wizards. In a sense, they kind of beat themselves because they give the team so many opportunities to come back and score. And obviously, it takes possessions away from them. But tonight, they flipped the script totally. The Clippers turned it over a lot. I believe they had, at the end of the day, they had 19 turnovers. The Wiz had 12 steals. They scored 26 points off of LA's turnovers. In comparison, for this game, up until the end, Russ and Bill only had 2 turnovers, which is, but combined, not like 2 each, combined. I don't think, man, I can't remember the last time we saw that, if we've seen that at all this season, especially from those 2 guys with the balls always in their hands. I mean, they play flawless basketball. And if you add, obviously, what they did scoring-wise, assist-wise, and rebound-wise, I mean, you can't ask for a better performance, man. They totally dominated, from the backcourt. Kawhi, I feel like he got going, but the Wiz did a good job of attacking him. I know people going to look at what Rui did and Denny, and they did play good defense on him to kind of slow him down in stretches. But I believe it was they attacked him and put him on his heels where he had to adjust and fatigue him. So when he tried to attack them back, which he had to do because Paul George wasn't playing, he didn't have that burst to get past them. And one thing Kawhi's going to have to adjust to, refs on that, putting the arm out to clear out space, man. They on that hard. Like we saw early a couple of weeks ago with James Harden, he kind of, his controversial call, did James flop or did he push him out of the way? The refs on that. As soon as you extend, they call him the offensive foul. And I think credit to the Wizards, man. You could tell that they was sitting on that. As soon as he extended, I ain't gonna say he knocked them back, but they sold it. We're gonna say that. They sold it, which is what you're supposed to do to get the call. They did what they had to do, and he got in foul trouble. And obviously with Kawhi out the floor, that changes the dynamic of their team. So he going to have to make some adjustments, but kudos to the Wizards for sitting on that. I thought Patrick Beverley was a problem in the first half, the way he was shooting the ball. They slowed him down. And I thought Patrick Beverley kind of erased Bertans in the first half. Ty Lue put him on there and we didn't see Bertans, but then Bertans woke up in the third, kind of got loose, and he hit some big shots. Raul Neto was, producing off the bench as well. I really feel like Russell Westbrook took a page out of Ja Morant's game from the last game where he just controlled the game. When the Wizards got up, he didn't allow the Clippers to try to get back in the game and get momentum. And that's been one of the biggest issues with Russ throughout his career. What people complain with is just like he just loves attack. He don't just calm down and just recognize the point of the game, time of possession, all that stuff like that to win the game. He only know how to play one way. Tonight he showed he played like a true point guard, and it was great. I thought Mo Wagner was big, man. His production, man. Timely steals, big time shots, especially that three late in the game. They needed that. And the battle of the benches. I know the Wiz, lost that battle, but at the same time, putting up 36 points off the bench is a big improvement from what we saw last game, and it was pivotal in them winning. And Brad is just Brad. That's why he's gonna be starting in the All-Star game on Sunday. Hopefully he bring back the MVP back to DC. But I just feel like this is one of their more complete games as a team where everybody did their job, man. That's why they walked out with a win.
All right, Ray.
Yeah, this is definitely one of their best wins of the season. And if you look at how the game unfolded, they needed every inch of contribution that they got from everybody. And I mean, that's just what good teams do. They step up and and they depend on each other and help each other to get wins like this. And they started out getting Kawhi in foul trouble early, and they took advantage, then kind of fell behind when the Clippers started getting hot from three. But they made their adjustments defensively, and they buckled down. They forced 2 shot clock violations this game, and that's, man, just looking at how the Wiz look when the season started to look how they compete defensively now, it's a complete 180, man. They and that's what's leading to their success. They never had a problem scoring the ball. We always said that it's, can you get stops? And they got them. They got them tonight for sure. They showed some fight coming back from a 16-point deficit. And that's big, especially after getting blown out by this team about a week ago, and then coming off 2 losses. And like Cardell said, they were playing with a sense of urgency. They didn't want to go into All-Star break on a 3-game skid. And they wanted some get back against the Clippers for their last game. So, that just shows some growth with them. We always talk about are they a tough team? Are they going to compete? And they competed tonight for sure. Man, Davis Bertans, he started the game off slow, but he did come alive. He made some hustle plays. My man caught a oop. Man, it's just he's turned it around this season, man. He started off, it was looking dismal for him, but he's got his legs back. He's getting back into the flow. You could tell he's more confident. He's not hesitating shooting the ball, and that's what they need from him. Cardell brought up the turnovers. They forced 19 turnovers, man. That's 9 times out of 10 that'll get you a victory. When you can turn the team over like that, because that means you're taking away opportunities from them, and they're not getting comfortable in their offense. And just down the stretch, I enjoy watching the end of this game. Mm-hmm. Man, both teams just executing, making plays back to back. And, it's not like it was because of lack of effort from either team. They both was playing defense. They both was making good decisions with the ball on offense and making shots. Just the Wizards just made a couple more plays. And in a game like this, that's what it comes down to. The more plays you make, the more pressure put on the other guys. And the first team to make a mistake or come up short is typically the team is going to lose. And the Wizards made the plays down the stretch, man. Of course, Westbrook had some struggles at the free throw line, but they were able to compensate for it. And it's just a great win, man. It's great to see them pull out games like this, seeing as how that's how they started the season. It, like I said, it just shows a level of growth and commitment on their end, to come out here and look like professionals, man, because it definitely hasn't been the case for the entire time. But yeah, man, it's a good win. I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, and just to keep things in perspective, going into the break, they're 12th in the East right now. They're 14-20 overall after this win. They're 7-3 in their last 10. So it would be in their best interest if they start the second half how they close the first half of the season. You get a chance to put yourself in not only keep yourself out of the play-in range, but actually seeded in the playoffs without going through the play-in. But again, that's on them how they come out and start. There's been enough proof, not only to us but to them as well, what needs to be done every night for them to put themselves in the best position to get a W. And it's at least this level of defense. I think it's part of the fourth quarter they held the Clippers like 4 or 5 minutes without a field goal. Would have never thought this group could even possibly do that. Thinking about the first 5, 6, 12 games of the season, like that was a ludicrous thought. Then you still had a couple possessions where, at least I know a couple came to mind, where Reggie Jackson bailed the Clippers out of horrible offense because Washington played good defense. Yeah, Luke Kennard bailed them out of a bad possession. It wasn't a horrible closeout, but those getting buckets like that late in the shot clock, it's not because you're not playing good defense. You got the Clippers swinging the ball around like that, and it's still contested. So they've made a lot of growth on that end. The biggest thing for me is starting the second half with the same sense of urgency. At bare minimum, you can't afford to right now start the second half of the season how you started the first. Any final thoughts you guys want to leave going into the break?
That little period you was talking about, the Clippers, I wrote it down. The Clippers were held scoreless. The Wizards held the Clippers scoreless from the 4:36 mark in the fourth quarter to 41.8 seconds left in the game. That's when Bertans hit the three. You know what I mean? Even without Paul George, that's a hell of a they were strapping. You don't hold NBA players for damn near scoreless for the last damn near. You might as well say they was knocking on 5 minutes of the game, and that's crunch time. That's money time. So, yeah, you don't do that. So that shows you the Wizards are capable. So we just gotta see that in the second half. They gotta bring it, like, you know what I'm saying? Because now, Scott Brooks, on his presser earlier, he said they got one of the, the strongest schedules coming up in the second half. It's gonna be real. So they can't afford. They're gonna have to beat some good teams. Pressure mounting, playoff pressure mounting, and then they can't afford to lose to the bad teams. You know what I'm saying? Have a stinker, you beat like Utah and LA again. You know what I'm saying? But then you drop a game to you drop the Kings or something like that, or Detroit. You know what I mean? It defeats the purpose. So you can't do that.
Right.
I'm just glad they're going into the break with a win. If they would have won in an All-Star break, on a 3-game slide, they just got to sit on that for a week, and I don't know what that would have done to their mental. I mean, they've shown that they can be, that they can be a pervasive team, recently, but you never know, man. You get a slide like that, then you got to think about it for an extended period of time. Then you come back into a gauntlet of a schedule, that could that could go left real quick. So yeah, glad they were able to just end on a positive note, so they can have a more positive thoughts to sit on so they come back.
Yeah, and just a reminder what they coming back to: Grizzlies, Sixers, Bucks, Kings. Like Cardell mentioned the Kings just randomly. What didn't you know? After those first couple I named, here goes the Kings, followed by the Jazz.
5 out of the first 6.
Here we go. A couple days later after the Jazz. Anybody want to guess who they have? They go up to Barclays. That group again.
The Nets can't beat them, though.
So far, that has been true. Then they get the Knicks 2 days later.
Oh,
He's staying in New York with a day rest in between. I'm sorry. And then it's Knicks back to back. Knicks in New York. Knicks in New York, both games.
Hey, that stretch right there, we gonna know right away if they got a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah,
if they come out that stretch with like 2 wins. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in that whole month of March, well, not the whole month, but coming back from the 9th to the 30th, you got this is the you got the Pistons and the Kings is the only teams out of that group where that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna find out real quick their playoff team. We're gonna find out real. It's gonna be that first week. Yeah. All right. Let's start looking at the draft. Who you think they should get? It's gonna be like that.
Like, hey, look, we laughing, but seriously, we're gonna know by like March 25th. In a 2-week stretch, we're gonna have a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
It'll be crazy.
And also, last thing, whoever let Bertans go backdoor on that screen and they switched to miscommunication, get that done, they need to be fined $1 million. I know who it is. I saw the clip. I don't want to say his name because I messed with him, man. He got screened, but you got to get over that screen. Y'all got to communicate.
Oh, man.
You got to find the mill, dog.
Hey, he caught the line. I can hear Cardell.
He ain't struggle. He ain't struggle like, he even did a little George cock back. Come on, man.
My man said, I got a little bit of stuff outside of shooting. Said, I got a little razzle dazzle. Missed my 11 points.
Only thing left from him is a sham guard. If he pull that off, I'm done. I'm not coming on this. I got to handle this.
If I ever see him catch anybody off the dribble, no matter what the circumstances are, y'all gonna have to come find me.
I'm done.
Oh man.
Not here. With his outlook, that's gonna be all right. You can log in, man, knock it out. I won't be here. If he catch anybody off the dribble, I'm out. I'm out. If he get anybody off the dribble or pin anybody's shot, glass anybody's shot, I'm gone. Those are the two things. Just because I don't know, because if he glass somebody's shot, I'm gonna need somebody to come check on me because that means that he actually did something somebody his height could do on a regular basis on purpose this entire time. That has been possible. But shout out to Mo Wagner, man.
Yeah,
he played a good game.
Shout out to Mo Wagner. But y'all have a good night. For some of y'all, we'll see y'all tomorrow night with the G League rundown. They are not on a break. Things are turning up over there, getting closer and closer to the playoffs because they're abbreviated season, and it's getting to the fun time. It's there. We're on the verge of craziness. All right, real quick, Coach Hall, I believe, huge 7 games after the break could be the determining factor on if we buying or selling at the trade deadline.
Man. It ain't nothing out there right now worth even looking at. That in this pandemic.
Regardless of what's going on, buyers shouldn't be buyers.
You got to roll with what you got, dog. It is what it is. Look forward to the draft.
That's it. Y'all have a good one. See y'all soon.